But you are allowed a brief question.
I will ask a brief question, and it will be directed at whoever feels competent to answer the question. If the First Nations peoples take the same action on the land claim from the foot of Front Street South as they do in Caledonia, what plan do you have in order to solve the problem?
Stephen LeDrew, I'll give that to you to start off.
I'm very glad to answer that first, because I've dealt with land claims in the Yukon and BC, and I've commented extensively on radio about the Caledonia situation. And first of all, I understand the frustration of First Nations, because both the provincial government and the federal government in this country have been absolutely guilty of not doing anything with land claims. So I do not condone breaking of the law by the First Nations in Caledonia. I do understand the frustration, and it's very legitimate, and it's up to the governments to resolve those things on a timely manner. So specifically with your question, I would have the rule of law upheld, but I would also make sure that there is a commitment to have any such claim resolved within 6 months. That doesn't mean the ownership. You have the claim resolved in a court or in an arbitration, and then after it's resolved, you have to deal with the fallout from that. I know those matters very well, having dealt with them, and I understand the frustration, and both governments should be severely criticized.
Jane Hinfield.
I've had discussions with Brian LaForme about this, and I've been doing my best to follow the progress. I agree it's very slow. What I do think is that Brian LaForme has told me that he understands it won't necessarily be land, it could be money, it could be buildings, it could be a combination of things. And so as mayor of the city, I would work cooperatively with the Mississaugas and the New Credit, and also with other levels of government. One thing that is important to me is to have an Aboriginal cultural center for the city. I think we've been missing the boat with tourism. This is what we need. This is what people in Australia, England, Germany would come to Toronto for, as well as Aboriginal people and other Canadians. I think that Ontario Place would have been a good location. It's something that I've been working on. I still intend to see it through. Unfortunately, an RFP has gone out recently, but it's something that Brian LaForme suggests, and that is waterfront property. What has unfortunately happened with the waterfront is a certain greed and a certain competition, and there's precious little of it left. And so that would be a priority for me, and that could be also part of the land claim.
David Miller.
Well, what I've been trying to do as mayor is build relationships of mutual respect with the Aboriginal community of Toronto. And I meet regularly with Aboriginal leaders, including Chief Reform and others. And I think it's that relationship of mutual respect is the foundation that's needed so that the city ensures that it is working cooperatively both with the Aboriginal community on broader issues and on land claims issues. And I think that relationship is what is necessary if there is, although I certainly don't anticipate it, if there is the kind of situation you described.
I just comment that those words were empty, just because I just would like you to know that I speak for traditional chiefs, and I represent over 950 in the Americas, and I do not feel respect.
Okay, so it's time for the question on